the reason why he don't want to remember, because he would like to think that he stood up to all these players and celebrities, and when you come on my show, like he would like to think that if that would have happened, that he might have done something different, but he didn't.
All right, guys, welcome to Fully Loaded. I'm here with Chris Carter. I'm Shawn. Meaike, how you doing, man?
Oh, good, bro.
He's looking good. You got your FAU gear on.
Yeah, we got a look.
Straight from the country club.
Well, country club look. Dog days of summer, man. We got the work.
Hot out there.
Yes.
How hot was it today? Tell everybody that does not spend time in Southern Florida what it was like out there 3 hours.
95, heat index like 109. Yeah, we had a little scrimmage game.
That's real on the field.
10 a.m. Oh, absolutely. It's brutal. There's no sport like it. Brutal.
What happens when the schools come in here? They ain't used to it.
Oh, they melt.
They melt.
I'm melting.
Sun right out of my new wayside line.
Yes.
All right, man. We're going to get to it. Well, first of all, we're going to start. We should start. You were telling us a story recently about your encounter with Skip Bayless, and a lot of people seem to be really interested in that because they got a lot of feedback and millions and millions and millions and millions of views. But I want to read you, and I know you've seen it, but I want to read it anyway so everybody gets to see it. So I want to read you Bayless's response to what you said was your story. Okay?
Okay.
New York Post.
All right. I didn't see it.
You didn't see it?
No.
Okay. This is the first time you're hearing it.
Somebody told me that he responded.
But you haven't read it yet?
Yes, I haven't read it. No.
New York Post.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. Only to you. It's about you. You haven't read it yet. Right. Cris and I sparred often on First Take during the Tebow run in 2011. But I have zero memory of him telling me he was going to punch me in the face, Bayless said. What is your response to that?
Well, there's really no need for me to respond. There was no need for me to make something up. Actually, if you look in the comments, the producer of the show is in the comments.
Really?
And he says, I remember the show vividly.
He commented in the comments?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. So then I wasn't on a TV show with Skip Bayless until I went to Fox. So I wasn't on any more shows for the next 4 or 5 years at ESPN with. So Stephen A is my guy, which we're going to have him on the show.
Which I'm looking forward to.
And he knows the reason why I wouldn't come on there was because the reason why, because I know a lot of people in the comments are like, wow, why would that get you so upset? There are certain rules when you do shows.
Okay.
There's certain understandings. There's certain places that as a host, I've hosted my show and I've been on other shows hundreds of times. There's certain places that are out of bounds. And if I'm on any type of show with even an athlete, let alone a non-athlete, it's totally out of bounds for me to talk about their lack of a sports career or whatever stats they had or thought they had or whatever little league team they got an MVP because it's just known in the business that we're just not going to go down that road. So when you do these shows, everyone understands that. But that's what makes some of these shows a little hokey, a little wrestling-ish as, someone's got to win and someone's got to lose, but it's already staged who's going to win before you even open up your mouth based on which argument you have to take.
So before you get on a show, as you're planning the show, the argument is planned, discussed, laid out.
Yeah, that's them calling us, telling us.
That's them right there, telling you not to say nothing?
Yeah, they're going to give you your subjects, and they're going to give you the side you have to take.
So I come in and say, Cris, this is your side.
Yes.
Here's the argument, this is yours.
Yes.
Got it.
So you only, whatever information, people say, well, if it's one side, you have 50. Sometimes you don't have 50% of the information. So you have to make an argument that you necessarily don't believe in.
Got it.
And that's the way they've been doing these shows. And the public's going on there like, wow, these people are really debating. Like, man, they're really like, really?
Like reality TV.
Yeah, like really.
Yeah, that really happened.
Right. Yes, one of them is on one side and one's on the other. But for a long time, the public was not aware that's the way it was.
I wasn't aware. Like, I'd watch a show and I'd be like, I wonder why he took that spot. Like, I wonder, does he really believe? I didn't even think that you got on. So
Right.
I'm as ignorant as anybody else.
So the more talent that
so.
you have and the more information you have, the more topics you can be on. See, the one thing about that show was I didn't have that in my contract. A lot of people at ESPN, the way they do you, they book you on shows.
Okay.
So you have to get a certain number of shows, be on a certain number of shows to fulfill the contract. I didn't. Stephen A. was my guy. The producers and I were friends. So they were like, hey, you're on Meaike and Meaike, come right over right afterwards. I was like, yeah. And it's a good show. Like I like going back and forth, especially with Stephen A. So I ain't supposed to be here. And I ain't getting paid to be here. And then now you're going to talk about, oh, you didn't win a Super Bowl. You ain't won nothing nowhere.
Correct. Which you say it's out of bounds, even though when it's scripted the way it's scripted, there's still things that are just out of bounds. You don't say them.
Yes.
You just don't do it. So why, and again, Skip's done it to plenty of people.
When you run out of intellect and you run out of information, your bailout is, oh, well, what didn't you do at the highest level? Well, I'm one of 25,000 men that have played in the NFL. I'm one of 12,000 played more than 4 years. Forget all the accolades and everything.
Yeah.
Just surviving, I did that.
Correct. But why would,
And I'm never going to bring that up.
So here's what I'm trying to understand. Nowhere else, like whenever I'm doing in my life, why would you, because I'm actually really curious, why would somebody that's not, it's not like it's Shaq and Chuck talking shit to each other because they're friendly or not for whatever their deal is,
right,
and laughing and both played at a very high level, and it's, why would you think if you've never played and like at all, that's the shot you're going to take, and it gives you more credibility because you didn't play at all, and then you're attacking a guy that played at that level, whether you're a Hall of Famer or not, in my opinion, and then it's completely regardless,
yes,
and then try to dog you for not winning a championship because he's just so frustrated that it's like a temper tantrum. Like, I don't know what else to say, so I'm gonna go with that.
Right, and they have the protection because it's their show. It's not like he's a guest on someone else's show. They're on their show, so they have the protection. They have the producers. They have it. They have the ratings and everything. So, and the public, it became more and more popular. Like the public. So if the public agrees to it, they're going to provide more of it. So that's what they did.
But
they tried it. The public liked it. So they gave them more of it.
But even though the public liked it, and even though you were getting the ratings, there's still certain things if you want, because you said Stephen A. is held in very high regard by athletes.
Stephen A. Yeah.
He can still debate. He can still hold his ground. He can still entertain.
Yes.
But he doesn't stay. He knows what's off limits.
Man, there's hundreds of things Stephen A. could get on a podcast, get on TV right now, and ruin guys' lives and careers. Like, he's a real journalist.
Yep.
Like that's the way he started, and that will always be his background. And then he has relationships at all levels, and he's a good listener. He's a smart guy. He's a good listener, and he gathers all this. And one thing he was like, hey, man, I don't have no plug in the NFL like you do. And when I watch Countdown, no one explains football. So, like, when I go to stuff, like, I like to be able to come to you. So him and I would have communications that other people wouldn't know about. And if he was on TV and I was somewhere and I thought he was maybe a little off the target, I'd try to steer him back to the target based on my information. And he would be like, hey, I have a source close to the situation.
Right.
You know, so yes, he's a pure journalist, and he's been the most successful at that debate and still remaining a journalist and keeping those ties and allies.
So, when I look at even you go to social media comments, whatever the deal is, when you see fans, and I guess Skip's probably, I mean, he had a show, and I don't know if he was a big sports fan before that or not, or never was. Obviously, he's interested. He made a living talking about it.
Right.
But nowhere else in the world that what I've seen, I've worked at, I've watched, I've read about. Nowhere else in the world do you get to go into your office and be like, hey, bro, you didn't do this, so, like, fuck you. Like we don't. When I started in the real estate business,
Mm-hmm.
you didn't come on some job site and find a dude who'd been doing it longer and then just start cussing him out and not expect he wouldn't come down and literally punch you in the face.
Well, the thing about it is Skip's been covering sports for long enough, but when he was able to team with Stephen A., it gave him a different level of credibility. And then when it just happened, LeBron James, the rise of LeBron James, and then him deciding that LeBron's not great, that LeBron's not clutch. So he's tried to shift gears a couple times. Now it's about the Cowboys and LeBron. Mm-hmm. Like the Cowboys are winning every year. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to go on the show, you got to talk about the Cowboys, even if they're in the news, not in the news. And you have to represent LeBron because Skip's going to be bashing LeBron.
So he's going to come at him no matter what.
Oh, that's what he's been doing the last 10 years. That's it. Like LeBron, even when LeBron wins, he doesn't win the right way. It's like apologizing to your wife. So you didn't do that the right way. You didn't say that the right way.
What's his issue with LeBron?
He tries to call himself a Jordan guy. And he's just got so many complaints about LeBron, how LeBron does stuff, how LeBron has conducted his business, that there's no way that he can feel that way about LeBron. Like, I just got done watching LeBron in the championship game, gold medal game.
Right.
What an amazing athlete.
He's amazing, dude.
I mean, he's so unselfish, rebounding, a triple-double in the semifinals game. Mm-hmm. Like, so unselfish, guarding their best player. Mm-hmm. In clutch situation, he's guarding. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's guarding the Joker. So, like, and has made a career out of doing it and been successful. Like,
plus he's done it right. This is a dude that just doesn't like.
Never mentions it.
Done it right.
Never.
I mean, whether you like whatever
that's
you think.
That's almost impossible.
Like to come in at that age with all his distractions and do everything he's done the way he's done it,
right, on
and off the court. He causes no problems. Goes about his business, makes his money, hangs out with his family.
Right.
Whatever you believe.
Excuse me, but Skip's made a career. His second part of his career, because he's an old dude.
Yeah, he is.
Second part of his career, he's really made it off of bashing LeBron James.
So then I'm reading this from this Deuce Bar. So he says, Mike McCarthy from Front Office Sports said Bayless blamed SF1's higher ups for not mediating his feud with Shannon Sharp. So he had a feud with Shannon, Skip. And then they were supposed to mediate the feud between him and Shannon. Like he couldn't what?
Because he's not that in your face. Hey, I'm a man, you're a man. Let's work.
So he's
going
to scream at you for not winning championships and say all that, but he ain't gonna sit outside with you and talk. And you go like, let's hammer this out.
Right.
Like I shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't. Let's talk like two adults.
Right. And before that, because Skip was kind of failing, and then him and Shannon hooked up. So Skip would be like, oh, well, I discovered Shannon. Well, Shannon was already a known product.
Correct.
He just needed to land somewhere.
Correct.
Now, what he was doing, he was totally new at, but it's talking. That's his specialty. Mm-hmm. He was actually better at a show, and he knows more about basketball, and he's got a good relationship with LeBron. Mm-hmm. So he was a perfect fit to be after Stephen A. and him, he was the perfect fit for that. Mm-hmm. You know, so, but when Shannon's contract was up, did Skip Bayless go up top and tell them to pay him no money? And Skip was making 3-4 times as much as Shannon.
Crazy.
Did he go upstairs and say, hey, man, hey, this guy, we got a good show together. Can y'all extend him? Can y'all? No. So then when it got hot, when it got real, well, you done said too many of them things I ain't going to let you get away with no more.
Right.
Oh, you want someone else to come in and mediate. No, we grown. You're grown enough to say it on TV. Right. But they turn into different people when you turn the camera off.
Explain that.
Oh, you know what it is, man.
I want to hear it.
No,
you know I know I've been there. I want to hear it.
When you turn the camera off, they become not so clutch. Like they ain't so big and bad and everything. And yes.
So is there any chance that Skip somehow, what does he say? I have zero memory. Do you have any? I have every memory of anybody telling me they're going to punch me in the face. Sober and drunk.
Right. This is not that, because the reason why he don't want to remember, because he would like to think that he stood up to all these players and celebrities, and when you come on my show, like he would like to think that if that would have happened, that he might have done something different, but he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Like he knows what happened.
Mm-hmm.
It was right there on the set. People have been putting the clip up. I was like, man, wow, look,
Right there.
Okay, yeah, I remember that sweater right there. Yeah, okay, I
Hey,
remember
that was
outfit.
an interesting look.
The
sweater.
It's mornings, man.
That
it's,
was
it's
a
Hartford,
different.
Connecticut. It's
That was
cold.
I'm on I've been in Connecticut my whole life. That was a different look for you.
I'm on Greenie.
That's the first thing I picked up was a sweater.
That was a very kind of college. Yes.
Very reserved for Cris Carter.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's why he's not going to come on and go, yeah, man, he said it. We had an argument. That was it. Because if you told me you're going to punch me in the face, I'd be like, okay, like you can punch me in the face, not
right.
And if I didn't do anything, I'd say, yeah, he said that. Like,
right. And I'm not trying to be a tough guy.
Nobody said that. No, I don't think you're remotely trying.
And I'm not walking around with some chip on my shoulder.
No, you're trying to. Here's my opinion. I think first of all, you're telling a story that's true, but also people. Somebody asked me the other day, what do you dislike the most in the world? Like when people treat people a certain way. I said when they bully them. Meaning, that whether it's verbal in any way, like there's no repercussion for you. Right.
I think every boy by the age of 8 to 10 should be punched in the face.
A number
of times. For doing
something
stupid.
100%.
I think that, like, is the stove hot? If you say something stupid and you offend someone,
correct,
and you go out of your way to do it, I think if we did that, I think by the time when they grow up, they don't try to act so studio tough and everything, or microphone tough.
There's a consequence.
And everything. Yes. And, you don't go around the NFL starting fires.
No.
Like tread lightly, and there's certain dudes don't start nothing with them. Like, don't stay in your lane.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what, people like Stephen A., like he knows that. And that's why he's been so successful. He's the best, he's the most successful person at that brand because he's cross-branded himself and still stayed a pure journalist while still having one of the most popular debating shows.
So if a guy like Skip ran into a guy like LeBron, who he's hated on since the guy forever, I guess, he's what? He's cordial to him, he talks to him, he don't talk to him.
LeBron's not talking to him.
He don't mess with Skip at all.
No.
Don't dignify it with a response. Nothing.
No, there won't be any flowers at his funeral. No. I mean, because he has been the biggest LeBron critic on the face of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, absolutely not.
Which is weird because the show you have is about the debate, it's about educating, it's about entertaining, and when you get to a point where you don't know what else to say, and then you say that, then it just, first of all, the whole thing's over anyway.
It's hokey.
That's a good word. It's a good way to explain it. It's a different way to explain it. It's probably a lot less inappropriate. When Shannon left, is it true that it went from 400,000 viewers to like 50,000 viewers that fast with Skip?
Like, I don't know
That's
the
what
numbers,
I read.
but it was definitely a huge miscalculation.
Not understanding the talent and taking care of the talent.
Underestimating the talent, and when you mismanage your stars, there's a trickle-down effect, and it will affect the product. That's when they mismanaged him and allowed Shannon to come in as a unequal partner, as a Hall of Famer doing a show, but it's still Skip's show, it's still Skip's way. It's like he's got all these quirky things, how he does stuff. He writes certain things. He's got certain guys he works with behind the scenes. He only talks to certain people before the show. Like, he's a weird dude, man. Like, he's a weird dude. But no matter any of the time what Shannon was doing at Fox, even if he was doing the podcast now and had the success that he had now, he wouldn't be an equal to Skip on that show.
Skip wouldn't allow it.
That's the way the show was made out.
Correct.
So it was bound to fail. Like, Stephen A. always treated Skip as an equal, even though he wasn't.
Not even close.
But he treated him as an equal. That's kind of the secret sauce that they
because
had.
he had the humility to do it, the intellect to do it. Skip can't understand. He had to understand that it was destined to fail. If it was just his,
man,
is it ego?
A lot of this is people think it's them.
Yeah, ego.
Yeah.
Ego gets too damn big.
Yeah, he really underestimated that one.
That was a bad move. And then last thing, because now I'm intrigued to start reading about it. And then he's leaving, and they ask him to do a farewell show, and he says, "I ain't doing it. Like, I'm not gonna do a damn farewell show. I'm not gonna do that." When he talked, I don't know why he decided that became an article, because he talked about it. If he hadn't said nothing, it'd probably be nothing. But he wouldn't do the farewell show. What did they do so wrong to him? Not renew him? Not what is? That's a pretty damn good run. How much money he make over at that place?
A lot. I mean, they started. They're debating, shows with him.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave him a lot of money, and they were in talks with him when he was at ESPN, because he was negotiating with ESPN. He used them as leverage, because all the people that were running the shows at Fox had come over from ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
They had been the producers from his own show.
Mm-hmm.
So he leveraged it. He played them the whole time. "Oh, I'm going to leave. I'm going to do this. I'm over talking to Fox." Then all of a sudden, oh, man, these guys, they're kids. They're kids. They're adults, but they're kids.
You got to know what cards you got.
He overplayed his hand. But, well, for one, as a reporter, his life was a single.
Mm-hmm.
He turned it into a home run.
Yeah. Good for him for that.
I mean, absolutely.
Yeah, monetize the hell out of it. Good for him.
He really did. But he would be one of the most disliked people ever on TV.
But would he think his life was a single and he turned to a home run? He'd think it was a screaming home run from the day he started doing anything. Would he have that kind of humility to say, "Hey, man, I'm going
to tell you, I don't know. As many years I've been knowing Skip Bayless, I don't know Skip Bayless.
Got it." So you don't even know him.
Well, because I saw the act. I mean, I saw LeBron them. They won back-to-back championships. He was still mad at LeBron.
No matter what Bron did, he would be mad at Bron.
Right.
It didn't matter.
Yeah. So sometimes you know people, but you see how they react in certain situations, and you're naive to keep going on saying you know those people.
Well, I'm going to tell you what. I got a job as a social worker with abused and neglected children when I was 22 years old. And my boss, I came in one day and I said, "He says he doesn't remember that happening." And my boss said, "Guess what? That means he's lying." I said, "Why?" She said, "Because if it didn't happen, he would have just said it didn't happen. He wouldn't have said I don't remember it. He would have said that didn't happen. It didn't happen." So very interesting. Well, I got to read some of these comments. These are great.
Well, it didn't end my broadcasting career, so that was good.
It did or didn't?
It didn't.
I know it didn't. I know. I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah. You did very well. All right. Just subscribe. Great podcast. Thank you, Dale Johnson. Okay, this new spot. Oh, shoot. New spot for CC. Good to see him on the mic. Doran Bond. First time watching this, fan of the podcast. Does Stephen A. Smith scream? Does he yell? What would you scream? Because I said he screamed, and this guy said he doesn't. You never watched First Take. No. Organic Lindo. I've watched First Take. I thought that was the definition of raising your voice. Does he not scream? Am I wrong about that? If I'm wrong, I'm totally good being wrong. Is it because it's a high-pitched thing? Is that what makes it scream?
Yeah, and I would say that his delivery, you definitely have to control the volume on the TV, because it will.
He'll light you up. I'll be 2 rooms away. I watch it.
Yes.
I hear him.
Yeah, so I wouldn't. Now, yelling when you're conversating, it's almost impossible to yell when you're conversating.
Correct.
But Stephen A. has a very, very good delivery, and his delivery on First Take is different than his delivery on SportsCenter or NBA.
Yeah.
And on his podcast stuff.
Yeah.
Like he has a little different feel for the audience. So when I go to First Take, I expect from First Take, because you have to bring more energy because it's in the morning. And you have to carry the show. It's his show. So you have to go about that in a different way that I understand.
I was on an airplane one time watching him, and I realized you can't have Stephen A. on it with no AirPods because you don't know when he lights up. So I thought it was a scream. He's just very affirmative in what he said. So organic, you might be right. It might not be a scream. I might not be that good in my Webster's Dictionary deal. To Mr. Chris Carter, I like the guy that said you dropped the ball on the Dolphins. You said sorry, put your hands up. That was great.
No, for real. No, I dropped that. That was not real good.
Well,
not real good.
Well, thank you for responding
and
to
it
that.
was back in the Metrodome. We were trying to clinch a playoff spot.
Really?
It was right after I had ruptured my kidneys, and I had come back. It was the first game I came back. I had missed 8 weeks. Got hurt the first game, missed 8 weeks. Came back against Minnesota and dropped a touchdown pass. Inside had a choice route, and man, just went off my hand. I couldn't believe I dropped it. And then Gary Anderson kicked a field goal late in the game to beat us, the one who missed the field goal for us to go to the Super Bowl. So it was a bad day.
Irony of that.
It was a bad
It
day.
happens, bro. You don't forget it, though.
No.
Thank you for responding.
No, it was my fault, too.
This guy said, I don't know. He said, I talked a lot about sharing my own sporting visit venues. I don't even know what the hell I was talking about. Was I talking about visiting sporting venues? I can't even read this guy's name. JRoy5569. My bad, bro. Here's the last one. My man says, a story can't be true. I ain't going to read. He said, a story can't be true because you never told it before. What is the rationale behind that?
Well, let me tell you something. Well, this is my fault. I have been around so many people. I've done so many things. I haven't forgotten the stories. They just sometimes don't register to me.
Yeah.
And when I'm around regular people, like when I'm around you, you'd be like, why didn't you tell that story? I was like, I didn't think about it. So when you've been around sports at a high level for so long, you've been around TV people for so long, so many things happen, and tell some, save some. Like, never tell it all.
Tell some, save some.
Like, I could have one of the most popular podcasts in the world, but I'm going to have to roast some people. I'm going to have to turn some people in.
Yeah.
And as my boy, Shaq says, snitches get stitches.
Yeah,
I ain't trying to get no stitches.
No, you don't.
I'm not trying to be, every time I go somewhere, we look at hey.
Plus that ain't you anyway.
No.
It's not who you are.
It's not.
Not
And
who you are.
our life is not going to be enriched by telling dirt on somebody else. Now, what I will tell about myself.
100%.
Like, I'm full disclosure, everyone knows, full disclosure, everything. But, it's not my job in life if I got a dime on someone to drop it.
Correct. No doubt.
Man, there's so many people out there, man, they got stuff, and there's so many people, and they're just hoping one day that they never, ever talk about it. Like, they never, ever talk about it. So, I just tell people, man, they just be honest, tell the truth, put it out there. And especially when you're a public figure, man, if there's something wrong, people will come get you and make it right.
100%. I was watching this clip the other day because a lot of the comments were talking about how you keep it real, how people appreciate the fact that you keep it real with yourself and with everything else you're talking about. And a long time ago, a guy sent this to me. It was Allen Iverson talking to the media, and you could tell like he's really sincere about it. Like, they're coming at him for some stuff, and he's like, y'all want me to be a better basketball player. The minute you start to understand that, like, I'm just like you, like I'm a human being like you, I bleed, I cry, I hurt just like you, y'all be better at your jobs. And it's just, I think it gets us back to, and we'll end on this, but for me, and I've said this to you because I've not been in your shoes, I don't know, and I would have had to learn like you did, but I don't know that I would be down walking around all the time knowing that people can say what they want when they want within reason. You have to restrain yourself. But I understand that's part of it. I get it. You can't jump in the stands and beat people up, and you can't when a guy's in a grocery store and he's mad about
that's part of the training too, though.
That's my point. You have the training. So for a lay person who's never had the training, it's like we don't get trained in the real world. They don't walk in our office and MF me. Like that's not what we do. So but I think it's given me a bigger appreciation for what athletes at a very high level go through. So, well, hey, man, I appreciate you talking about that today.
Absolutely.
Appreciate y'all. Thanks for jumping on Fully Loaded. Download, please subscribe, like, share. It's blowing up. You don't want to miss out. We are going to go live. We're going to start going live during football season.
Yep.
We're going to do our picks. We're going to let Cris Carter talk about the game. We're going to hear his insight. We're going to hear him talk about what's going on, what he likes, what he don't like. And we'll see you at our next episode. Cris, I appreciate you.